Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This, believe it or not, is the Civivi and GTC Hypersonic. How crazy! Civivi collaborating with GTC. I've said for a long time, hey, it'd be cool if you guys took like even the slightest risk with any of your designs. And yeah, they're like, hey, we'll just hand it over to GTC to make something wildly different. That's really cool. I like that, and it gives me faith in Civivi because, man, let me tell you, when it's like 1 in 20 Civivi knives that looks even remotely different, it's hard for me to get super excited. This one I did get excited about. Now, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Many people will look at this and say, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen, and that's completely and totally expected. You could say that about any knife, right? Truthfully, even to me, I'm like, there are definitely elements of this knife that are a little bit quirky, and, you know, we'll talk about it. This is also more expensive than what most people consider a Civivi knife to, you know, like most people would expect a Civivi knife to be. However, I think you might be surprised at my opinion on this one. I'm going to talk all about it. There's stuff I like, stuff I don't like. But hear me out here, because this one's a little bit different. Thanks so much to Civivi for sending this knife in for me to take a look at. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This knife should be available by the time you're watching this video, so I will link it right down below in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Let's go ahead and get a measurement here. The overall length of the Hypersonic, it's a big boy, 8.65 inches overall. Blade length is coming in at 3.65, and your cutting edge is about 3 1/4 thanks to this sort of forward choil area. Let's do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. We're at an angle here, but this knife is actually almost exactly the same length as the Rat 1. How about up against the Ontario Rat Model 2? There we go. How about up against the, let's do the regular size comparison knives today. The PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. There we go. How about up against the Demco AD 20.5? How about up against the Benchmade Bugouts? And finally, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. Alrighty. How's the action? Pretty good. I would have absolutely been blown away to see like GTC do their flipper tab on this. But I think that's a little much to expect. I mean, you know, don't take it off the table, Civivi, if you're going to continue to work with GTC. But it's just it's a steel frame lock, right? A little more going on here though, right? People say, oh, it's a steel frame lock. All right. I mean, even the people who are intentionally putting the blindfolds and the earmuffs on, right? Even they can, see that there's a little more going on here. The flipping action is good. This is a little bit tight out of the box, but there's nothing, making me feel like it's grittiness slowing the blade down. I think it's just a little tight. It'll probably smooth up over time. You can absolutely use that fuller in the blade to reverse flick it, which is pretty cool. And I don't know if the lip is easy enough to get at like that, but you can definitely pinch open it, meaning you can grab it from both sides and then just wheel it out, which is fine. I like that they give you a few different options. Honestly, the D10 is, I would call it medium heavy. You can see it's a pretty good, pretty snappy, right? It feels nice. It is a little heavier because it's a pretty big frame, and most of the frame is steel outside of the G10 inlay. But they did, this is kind of impressive, they did go ahead and mill a ton of this on the inside for weight reduction, despite having a good chunk of the steel milled out on this side for the G10. I mean, it is steel, it'll still hold up, but they did reduce it as much as they possibly could. So that's nice and definitely takes extra work and should be noted when we're considering the final price tag. Access to the lock bar is also nice. It's not sharp in any way, and there's no double clutch. So you can easily get this thing to sort of turn and fall. There's not, I mean, there is, it's an over travel stop. It's just a late one. What am I seeing here? No, I'm actually wrong. I'm wrong. They have a built-in over travel stop. Can you see it? There's a little lip because remember, this is a steel frame lock. It's not a titanium frame lock. On a titanium frame lock, you generally have a steel lock bar insert, and on the back of that insert is a little chip or a lip that connects under this part of the frame to keep this lock bar from over traveling. Because if you overextend it, then it's not going to come back and lock out the same way. They actually have a little tab or something attached to this frame lock that's going through and connecting underneath there. So I was going to say the G10 stops it, maybe, but there is a little tab here stopping it from over traveling. So nice. Also something we should, take a look at. That's a nice little thing that they did there to keep us from feeling like we might accidentally bend it out, which admittedly is rare, but it's cool, right? Where the heck were we? Oh yeah, we were finishing up action. The action's fine. It makes me think of that scene from The Office where he's like, Angela, your work was totally satisfactory this year, and he just runs out. Anyways, the carry profile is it's about the thickness about the same as the Spyderco Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy's a little longer than the Para 3, a little shorter. No, it's longer than both. It's absolutely a little bit longer than both. Max height, little shorter than the hump in the PM2 and Para 3. Not crazy. Most people are just going to notice the general size of this knife in the pocket. I carried it for a couple of days. General size in the pocket and weight, I noticed it a little bit, but as is the case with most knives, you will adapt, right? Except for knives like the Cold Steel Espada XL. People tell you adapt to that knife. You don't. You just forever grit your teeth and you're like, I'm definitely used to it now. I don't even notice it. It's fine. I don't even notice it. I'm not even thinking about it. It's just normal casual me just carrying the Espada XL down the street. Just no big deal. Definitely don't need to pull my pants back up right now. Nope, it's just me. Okay, anyways, we've done the obligatory make fun of people who force a roll for the Espada XL in their life. That one guy just seething. He keeps typing half a paragraph and then deleting it. And he's like, no, it's not good enough. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. Let's see. T8, yeah. Pretty sure Civivi's still doing the same thing. We got T8, we got T8, and we got a couple of T8 pocket clip screws. Yes, we are definitely going to talk about that pocket clip. It's really cool that they did it that way. Really nice. Honestly, very simple construction, easy to take apart. I mean, it's all pretty great. Outside of the fact that they didn't, offer left-handed people a mounting position for the clip. Disassembly at least should be very easy. Let's go ahead and weigh it. All steel. What are we looking at for materials? Steel for the frame, G10 for the inlay, and 14C28N for the blade, which is great. It's kind of 14C28N has kind of become the budget M390, but we're in the time period where everybody likes it. and for M390, everybody's sick of it. So, but that's kind of where we're at for 14C28N. I enjoy it. I think it's a great steel. The weight is a totally expected 5.89 ounces. This knife is definitely a bit butt heavy or frame heavy. Your balance is about right here. Not that big of a deal. I mean, if you really, really want to carry this knife, the weight is probably not going to bother you that much, but for many people, this is just going to be too big and too heavy. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness here. Blade stock thickness is coming in, bless it, bless you, 117 thousandths is really not all that thick. Alrighty, so this is very obviously a GTC, and if you're not familiar with GTC, treat yourself. Look them up. They make some crazy cool futuristic stuff. Now, I'll say this. The first thing that stands out aesthetically to me is that the blade appears to be a bit short this way compared to the handle. I really wish that this blade would be a little bit taller. I think it would have been much more aesthetically pleasing. I mean, even though it does sort of look like, what do they call that thing? The techno truck? Or the freaking weird Elon Musk truck. It kind of looks like that, right? So if you don't find that aesthetic pleasing to the eye, then it doesn't really matter what they do to the blade. You're not going to like it. But I think it would have looked a bit more even, right? Can we agree on that? Even had they brought this down a little bit. That being said, this is a wild departure. Yes, it's just a frame lock with a blade on it, right? But aesthetically, this is a wild departure from the folding steak knife sort of meta that Civivi has been used to since the dawn of time. Since before the dinosaurs were here, Civivi was like, let's make lots of folding steak knives. This is wildly different. And I appreciate that, right? Ergonomically, this looks like it would be like holding onto an angry pineapple, but it's not. Why? That's not an angry... just like a bunch of metal trapezoids all duct taped together, right? No, it's actually really, really comfortable. And believe me, I mean, I'm not making that up. It's actually really comfortable thanks to a couple of things. Look at this. They milled a steel clip for this. This is not their typical, they didn't grab from the pile of 10 billion stamped out Loch Ness monster clips that they've got just in a warehouse. They have one warehouse dedicated to pocket clips. They have to, right? Because they put those things on all of their knives. No, this got its own special clip and it's not stamped. It's a milled clip. That's pretty cool. We very rarely see milled steel clips. Kind of neat. We also got a full backspacer. It's just a G10 backspacer, but we got a backspacer. That's pretty cool. The overall, complexity when it comes to machining and milling on this knife is also a couple of steps above what we normally see, right? Milled out on the inside, heavily chamfered, spots milled for the G10 inlays, which, by the way, are perfectly done. And I mean perfect. I mean, the inlay work on this Civivi is better than most of the Wii knives I handle, and Wii does a great job with inlays, right? This is like Riot level inlay work. It's nice. Just a simple, dark, or sort of medium tumbled finish for the steel frame, and the same finish is applied to the blade, which is fine. An all-black version of this would also be really cool, definitely. But it looks nice. The blade is this sort of halo-themed reverse Tanto worn sheep, something or other, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely GTC, right? It's absolutely GTC. And by the way, the choked up position on this knife is just beautifully comfortable. No hotspot in fact, both positions are really, really comfortable. No hotspot from the clip whatsoever. And it's also a shorter clip. Thank you. This works. Shorter clips work. They're just fine. They create far less ergonomic issues, especially when they're milled and flat and rounded off at the edges, right? Shorter clips are wonderful. I'm sure that this was a GTC thing and not a Civivi thing, but hey, here's another example. It just works better. We don't need super long. We don't need a hockey stick duct taped to the side of our knife in order to keep it in our pocket, right? This size of clip, this ratio of here to here, this is great. Keep up with that. The edge is beautifully done. I maintain that Civivi has some of the best factory edges in the industry. And I mean, until you get up to like almost custom or Shirogorov level, right? Truthfully, it's up at I'm not seeing the same thing until we get to Brown, Koenig, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? Is he freaking serious? Listen, if you've bought a freaking Civivi here lately, look at this edge. This is wild, and I'm not just saying it's shiny. This thing is ridiculously well sharpened from the factory. It has a glassy smoothness to it. It is razor sharp. I don't see this same level of attention to the edge until we get up into that super high end, almost the $500 to $900 territory in some cases. Yes, there are certainly other knives that cost a little less money that still have some impressive factory edges, but this is amazing. And it should be pointed out that Civivi is really going above and beyond when it comes to their factory edges. I really don't think they get enough attention for that. I know other people have pointed it out and noticed it, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows I think Civivi does one of the best factory edges that I've ever seen. Certainly the best factory edge in this territory. So, anyways, the edge is actually, or the blade is actually very functional, great for EDC. Nice long belly here. We've got the edge points down. So if you need to do draw cuts or anything like that, it's fine. Relatively thin, not anything crazy, but relatively. Yeah, some gunk will get in that fuller every now and then. No big deal, right? Paper towels exist. Use them, right? They're great. If you've never tried paper towels, you got to try them. They're amazing. They like absorb things. It'll blow your mind. Okay, there's a flat that I don't know why. Why does he make himself laugh? He's not even that funny. Shut up. There's a flat that runs out about 80%, 75% the length of the blade. A nice swedge up here. There's just a lot going on with the blade that makes it fun to look at, right? And you wouldn't have even clicked on this video if at least part of your subconscious enjoys just looking at a knife, right? You can pretend all you want, right? But you're tired of that Home Depot thing you've been carrying around. That's why you're here. Embrace it. Embrace it. Anyways. It says nothing on this side, which I love. They put the Civivi or Capsule Corp logo right in the center. And then it says GTC on this side, which I think is pretty cool. And a little 14C28N down here. Really nice. There's no lanyard thing. Sorry, lanyardy people. No lefty mounting position for the pocket clip. That's a bummer. We really should have found a way to do that because it's pretty easy to manipulate with your left hand. Even, can I get it? Come on now. Let me drive this point home. There we go. Yeah, lefties can easily manipulate this. So lefty pocket clip position would have been nice. We have a stop pin that is attached to the blade and runs on channels on the inside of the frame, which is nice. Get an extra point of contact there versus a traditional stop pin. And if you just hate looking at stop pins, then you don't have to see it. If you're just like, nothing grinds my gears worse than having to look at a stop pin. Well, this is the knife for you. There's this knife runs on bearings. I'm sure that goes without saying. Lockout. We're looking at 30%. No blade play up, down, left to right. No lock stick. No double clutch. No pivot lash. Tight, but smooth. It'll break in. Very nice detent. And perfectly centered. There we go. Yeah, perfectly centered with no detent lash. I just like this because it's so different. Now, that price tag, right? A lot of people, they hear Civivi and immediately it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't even matter to them if it's made out of gold and diamonds. Like literally just the material value of the thing could be thousands of times more than what they paid. But if it says Civivi, by God, it had better be under $70. And to those people, I say, good luck with life. I don't know how you haven't been hit by like a fruit cart and just perished, but okay, good luck. Listen, this is $90, and I know I'm like $90 Civivi. They did try a little harder with this, right? I do think the price is still a bit high. But does this deserve to be outside of the expected budget range? I mean, on this channel, it's $75 or less. I generally expect all Civivis to be under $75, and a lot of them have crept up in price. But I've seen some Civivi knives, Synergy 3, weird cough, that were way over that mark and had no business being there. No business, right? That's like, you got what's a good? I'm trying to think of a good example of somebody that you wouldn't want on an NBA basketball team. Let's just say for no particular reason, somebody was like, "Hey, Jackie Gleason, do you want to play for the Suns?" He probably doesn't have any business playing for the Suns, right? For the same reason, the Synergy 3 has no business being a $93 knife. This is a $90 knife, and it's pretty impressive. I think $80 would have felt okay. So it's not that far over the line. If you like Civivi knives, and maybe you've got a sub $100 budget for knives in general, which is totally understandable and reasonable, this is worth looking at. It's also a good tool. That's what makes it fun. So truthfully, I like this knife, and I kind of have to grit my teeth through this, but I kind of recommend it for certain people. Not everybody. I'm not going to say everybody should be rushing out to buy this, but I think it's interesting, and I think it's neat that Civivi is willing to collaborate with people like GTC. So that's what I have to say about it. This was a fun one. That's pretty much it. I think I might actually keep this in my collection because it's so different. So yeah. Anyways, that's going to be pretty much it today. Like I said, it'll be linked right down below. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.